Is that what
What's
I be doing?
happening, y'all? I'm on that Q Walker today. Back with another episode of He Said, She Said.
Right to my right side, I got my right hand man, JT.
I ain't shit.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another show of He Said, She Said. This is Jarvis JT, and to my right here, I have, huh? Yeah. To my right here, I have the First Lady, Chrissy J. I'll let her introduce herself.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Chrissy J. On the ones and twos, you know what to do.
And to my far right here, I have my right hand man, Q Walker.
Hey, man, y'all already know who it is and what it is. You know, it's Q
Nephew
Walker.
Q.
I'm not even doing all that. Nope, I'm cool, calm, collective. What the hell do I do that for real?
Yeah, nephew Q.
Man, y'all ain't shit. We've been looking for two new co-hosts coming here soon because I'm back tired of them. But yeah, y'all already know what it is. Thank y'all for tuning in. And we have an esteemed guest today, and I'll let Jarvis go introduce her real quick.
All right. So in studio today, we have Kim Warren. Look, I'm not going to mess that up. I already know.
No, that was good.
Kim Warren. She's a social media influencer with over 16,000 followers on Instagram. She is a speaker and an entrepreneur. She owns the nail shop in Branning Crossing and is set to open her second location near downtown Lexington. Her mission is to give women the space to discover self-love, self-awareness, and help them express their divine feminine energy. She uses her platform to amplify social issues and spread positivity with authentic and uplifting content. So without further ado, I'll let her kind of introduce herself and just say hello.
Hi, I think that was it. I don't need to say anything. That was
That was one hell of an intro, Jarvis, man.
Hey, man, come on, man.
I didn't pay him to write that.
But yeah, we felt the need to do this show. I mean, I know it's a lot of other topics going on right now with the Derrick Jackson and all that, but that's easy to talk about. We wanted to talk about something that was a little bit more interesting, a little bit something that hits home, especially for these three over here. As you can tell, their nationalities. Don't tell them what you are, Jarvis.
All right, so aside from being black, I'm also Korean as well. So I'm half black and half Korean.
Filipino and black. I didn't know that.
You gonna tell people?
I forgot.
she was so mesmerized. She was like, "Wow."
I am Vietnamese, and I'm a quarter American. I'm a quarter white people.
Quarter white people.
We don't know what though.
And you know, what. Everybody already know I'm black and Dominican, so you know what I'm saying.
I didn't know.
Huh?
It was Dominican Q.
My dad.
Let me go.
Man, hey man, that man black.
Right.
I'm black and Dominican.
Anyway, so on today's show, what we're going to talk about today is some of the stuff that's been going around. As everybody knows, everybody's been seeing in the news things about like the Atlanta spa shooting, things of that nature, and then also, you know, if you've been following the news or social media, you've been hearing about everything going on out west. Specifically in Cali, but I'm sure other places as well, with all the hate against Asian Americans and just Asians in general. So I know Kim personally, and I know that she's been using her platform to kind of speak up against the hate and the attacks on Asian Americans. So, Q, you don't look Mexican, But anyways, so we wanted to bring Kim on the show. You look black. You look black. Yeah. So we'll just start getting into the show. First, we're gonna kind of get into some of Kim's endeavors, like we had talked about. She's a nail shop owner here in Lexington, and she owns her nail shop is called The Nail Shop.
Yeah, we're just keeping it basic.
The Nail Shop, and it's out in Branning Crossing. So if you guys are in the Lexington, Nicholasville, or any surrounding areas, go check her nail shop out. It's pretty dope, and she's about to open up a second location. Somebody's crazy. All right, so the first things first, Kim, with you being a business owner, and just thinking about some of the businesses in Atlanta, like the spas in Atlanta that are owned by Asian or Asian Americans, how do you feel now? Like, does it make you uneasy?
I think yes yes and no. I think that what happened was a really major freak accident almost. The fact that it was just some random kid, 21 years old, that said he had a sex addiction and wanted to go shoot up all these salons. Like, obviously, that's not something that happens a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the stories that you hear of like a cop that kills a black man. Like, that happens a lot in America.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
some random white person that just goes on a mass shooting of the Asian community is not common. So it's 100% it's scary. And I've done a lot of news coverage in the last week about it. And that's been really scary because obviously I want to use my voice and I want to talk about the issues, but then you wonder, are you putting your staff at risk? Are you making your business more vulnerable doing so? And at the end of the day, I chose to speak regardless. But yeah, it is. It's scary.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Go ahead, JT.
All right. So the question I had is, you know, I know my mom, her being Korean, you know, Atlanta being a real close destination. So my mom frequents Korean spas in Atlanta, in the Atlanta area. It wasn't any of the spas that were actually involved in the shootings. But have you visited any of the spas down in Atlanta?
No, but I feel like these were very specifically like massage parlors, and I'm sure the ones that your mom goes to are similar to the ones I go to, where they're like a full spa service. Yeah, and I feel like these were mostly just like massage parlors.
Okay.
But regardless, it's still just, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just so shocking. I mean, I remember it was Tuesday night, and I was busy all night actually, and it was at midnight when I don't know if you guys are familiar with an app called Clubhouse, but I was on Clubhouse, and there was a room, and the title of the room was Healing and Grieving for the Asian Community, and I'm like, what the fuck happened to the Asian community? Like, what did I miss? And then I looked on the news, and that's when I saw it at midnight, and I was like, wait, what? So I went through that whole day without knowing anything had happened.
Yeah.
And then all of last week I had trouble sleeping. I just had trouble being there because like you said, I use my platform to talk about a lot of harder, heavier things. And then, so I got into this space where I felt like if I didn't respond to every DM, if I didn't answer every call, if I didn't do every interview, if I didn't show up in every way, I felt like that I wasn't doing my job, that I felt like I wasn't doing enough. And so last week was really, 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 really hard on me, actually.
I'm glad we asked you to do it this week.
Yeah.
Then.
Right.
No added pressure.
So, you know, like we joked about earlier before the show, I'm the minority in this conversation. So we got her perspective. So I want to know from a male's perspective, Jarvis, how did you feel and your thoughts? Because like she said, this was something that's an anomaly. It's a one-off. You don't see this, but compared to, you know, seeing a white officer kill a black man. So with you being black and Korean, how did this affect you when you saw this?
Well, I feel what she's saying. I kind of look at it a little different, right? Because I kind of look at it as this is still a crime against a minority, right?
Yeah.
Like some kind of killing against a minority, even though it isn't the black community. I mean, she's right in saying that, right? Like you don't typically see this, you know, that specific.
Yeah.
Right?
That specific,
Yeah.
where it's about a
That's
sex
specific.
crime, like not a
Exactly.
sex crime, but you know, where it's like
Yeah.
like sexually driven.
Yeah. Which I'm kind of torn because I don't know if that was just an excuse or what, you know.
That's what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah,
Go
I'm
ahead.
not-
Just
I'm
how
not going by that
just
narrative.
how things were kind of, you know, unfolded by the police. It made a lot of things very hard to believe. And I'm not saying, you know, like I hate to kind of think in the way of a conspiracy theorist, but at the same time, I mean, people cover up stuff all the time,
Of course,
right?
yeah.
So, but for me, I was really like, it took me a while to process it, you know, even though I saw it. And in the back of my head, I just kept thinking about my mom visiting Atlanta. And, you know, not only that, even the attacks just in general
All over.
all over, just on the Asian community. Like, it just really made me think, because I'm going to be honest with you. If someone ever does that to my mama,
There we go. That's what I want to get to.
on God, on God, you might as well, like, yeah. Somebody got to die.
Eye for an
I
eye.
mean, the attacks are so prevalent in the Bay Area, in New York, in Los Angeles, and they're mostly attacking the elderly. They're mostly attacking people that don't speak English as well.
Mhm.
And it's just it's unfair. I mean, yesterday in the Bay Area, there were kids going around on buses
Mhm.
slapping people of the Asian race.
Yeah.
It was like, what? That's so weird.
So, were the kids like a certain ethnicity, or was it just like a bunch of random
I
kids?
didn't look that deeply into it,
Okay.
but I remember I saw friends online where they were trying to gather community leaders to stop it from happening. So I mean, it's just been, I mean, this has been happening for the last year though. You know, Jarvis, it's like it's been just on and off of these Asian hate crimes, but that no one can call it a hate crime because there isn't enough evidence that it is racially
Motivated.
Yeah.
like there's just not enough evidence. But then it's like, how much evidence do you need?
Yeah. See, I seen kind of the same thing. My homegirl on Instagram, Kiona, her Instagram tag is how not to travel like a basic bitch. But she, me and her have been kind of like talking back and forth about some of the stuff, and she had just kind of referenced some of that stuff and how she was organizing, trying to help organize some stuff going on in San Francisco. We didn't get to talk like too much because I think I was busy at the other gig or whatever, but that's really crazy because I think the way it was set up was it like a gang initiation or something like that? Because I tried to look into it, read into it. She had posted a little bit about it, and I tried to read it up on it a little bit, but it looked like they were like either daring each other to do it or in order to join this gang or whatever.
Was it like 16 to 18, or was it 20-year-olds? They didn't really give any specifics.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of people running around slapping.
They specifically did say kids. I heard
Kids,
that they
okay.
said kids, so I'm assuming maybe 18
and
younger.
under. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who put the so
Go ahead.
So I see the thing that said there's been an attack on Black America for years,
Look that
and
up.
I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not opposed to that at all.
That
But I'm
was,
not opposed to
Antoine Strong.
Antoine, yeah. Okay. But I'm not opposed to that at all. And you know what I'm saying? That's an issue in itself as well. So I think that should be talked about. But I don't think that one or the other takes away from the other, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Like-
And that's been my issue.
Yeah. For me,
that's been a big
yeah,
discussion.
it's been a big discussion just because of the climate of that. But
Mhm.
Tina can elaborate on how she feels. But for me, it don't take away from one or the other. So if I see, like I'm gonna speak on both regardless. Right. And if it's a attack on Muslims or on Buddhists or whoever, I'm gonna speak on
humans.
it. Yeah. So for me, I don't feel like we should put the two up. But if that's how some people feel, you know what I'm saying? That's how they feel, and I can't.
But before we get to the two part, because I definitely want to dive into that part. Tina, you being Black and Filipino, we talked about Jarvis being Korean and Black. When you seen this shooting, what was your thought process? Because I know you've been real vocal about these things on social media here lately. So, like, what was your initial reaction when you seen everything go down, or when you read about it?
I mean, if I can be all the way transparent, so
Please.
I relate more to the Black community.
Okay.
Simply because I was raised in America. I just met my mom for the first time in 2008.
Right.
So I recognize, of course, that I'm half Asian, but most people don't. Like, even she didn't know until, you put it out there. But it didn't matter whether I was half Asian or not, just to see it, like, it made me sad. Like, I was mad, like, I was angry, and I was even more angry to see, I guess, the sheriff get on there and make the statement that, he was just having a bad day. And like, dude, seriously?
That whole bad
Like,
thing.
The narrative that they put out here, when it comes to, I mean, I'm just be all the way real. When it comes to the white man, it's ridiculous. If it was a Muslim, and I know that's not a race, I'm saying, if it was someone Muslim that did it, it would have already been deemed as, this is a terrorist attack. You know what I mean? The whole narrative on the news would have been totally different than it was that day.
Mm-hmm.
And it pisses me off. Like that's how we even started having this conversation because
Yeah.
Q and I was on the phone one day.
Yeah.
And I'm
I think it was
talking to him
Saturday.
about it. Yeah.
It was Saturday.
And I had made a post and I'm talking about it. And then he's giving his input on what other people are saying. I'm just like, I don't agree with that. You know, like how I posted, I was like, it's selfish to only care about someone's humanity, you know, when you're getting something in return. And for that, racists have no reason to be fair towards us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So that whole thing, and I mean, of course you didn't say it, but the sheriff said it. Oh, was it sex? I mean, that right there, like I was just done with it.
For me, it was
Sex addiction,
the bad
day.
That's what it does for me. The bad day, like so. That's an excuse for you go out. Not to say you have to go to that extreme, but that gives you an excuse to do X, Y, and Z. Because shit, I just had a bad day, Jarvis, fam. I just felt like shooting him in the chest because you know what? I just had a bad day today, fam. It is what it is.
I mean, I don't understand it, and it angers me. At the end of the day, what is it?
Put the other one back with the All Lives Matter thing.
Okay, hold on.
Because I'm gonna address Michelle.
Okay, hold on.
Michelle, I'm gonna address her.
All right, there you go.
All right. So to me, Michelle, to be all the way 100 with you, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of how you slice it, I'm both black and Asian, right? So if I say that an Asian life matters, it matters because I'm Asian. My mama's Asian. I have a whole side of my family that's Asian. But I don't even, you know what I'm saying? The All Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter organization, that shit don't really mean nothing. Like to me, it's an actual life that matters to me. So if it's like, it don't matter to me if if a black person got killed and it was, you know what I'm saying, inhumane or it was a crime or a hate crime against them, that's exactly what it is, right? Or just any way. Okay. I ain't see that. I think she was talking to me. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think
She's half Asian, so she's half
okay.
Asian and she's Jordanian, so she's Middle Eastern.
Okay.
So I think she was just saying.
She said it was a Middle Eastern who did the shooting.
She said if it was.
Oh, if it was.
They
okay,
would have
okay.
been. Yeah.
Okay.
So she was just saying the way they're saying it sounds like, because she's half Filipino too.
Okay, my bad, Michelle.
Yeah.
My
Because
bad.
you can. I was like, that's what I look.
Hey, look! I started sweating. Jarvis got propped up. I was like,
I
oh,
said,
shit.
Jarvis, she
Nah,
said-
because I did, because a lot of people had, you know what I'm saying, when I say, stuff like that, and people don't know that I'm half Asian or whatever, regardless, but it's like, agree, Michelle, my bad, that's my bad, but no, I do feel like, a lot of people have been, especially in the black community, like, it's because one person is taking up for another race don't mean that we not worried about one other cause.
Right. I think it's unfortunate that All Lives Matter gained a really bad rep because I think it was hard when Black Lives Matter was at its height and people kept throwing, well, All Lives Matter. It's like, fuck you. Yes, we know that. That's not the point.
Yeah, all lives won't matter until Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. So All Lives Matter isn't a bad thing. It's just you're not giving light to the Black lives that were taken. Like,
Yeah.
Nah.
I mean, man, it just kind of like,
You all right, Jarvis?
nah, I'm good, man.
Okay.
It's just, you know what I'm saying? Because you hear that argument all the time, man. And I just think like, we ain't never gonna progress as a human race if we can't look at another. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We can't look at a struggle without thinking like, yes, I know, like that don't diminish anything
Yeah.
on that side. You know what I'm saying? And I get it.
Listen, me and Q was going through it on Saturday. He was like,
Yeah.
what? Wait, Tina. He said,
Yeah.
I didn't say it.
I was like,
Because
no,
I'm
this
in
ain't coming
Walmart.
from me.
I'm
You
hot.
flexed on Q.
Yeah, like she was like,
Because-
we was having this conversation, and I'll let her, open the conversation up. But I was just speaking from what I've been seeing posts and people say from the black community. So it wasn't my thoughts. I'm just giving her what I've been seeing, and I guess I don't know if she was like in the heat of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If she was in the heat of the moment or emotional, and then she started acting like I was saying the stuff, and I was like, "Hold on, Tina, like this ain't me. Like I'm just telling you what I've been reading." She's like, "Nah, because I'm just telling you." And I'm like, "Hold on, well, Tina, I'm about to find this mic. Let me call you back real quick." But Tina, yeah, go ahead and talk about what you've been speaking on here lately. That's really got you emotional.
I mean, so I made a post the other day and I said something to Q, but he was quiet when I said it. You say something, and you think the person's supposed to be like, yeah, I feel you. He was quiet, and I'm like, hello? Like, what's going on? So basically, it's pissing me off that I'm seeing people make these statements like, so where was all these Asians when
Yeah.
Black Lives Mattered? I'm like, what? What's your point? So now they want us. Who is they? When have you seen the Asians say, why should we stand up for them? They don't stand up for us. And the argument that Q and I were having, or the debate,
It wasn't even a
was-
debate, it was a conversation. You was debating me. I was conversating with you.
because what he was saying is, well, Christina, he said, I think what's going on is, where were they when we didn't see them on the front line like we seen white people on the front line? I said, well, first of all, Asians are minorities, so maybe they was just mixed in. And I said, it's easier to see a white person on the front line with Black Lives Matter. I said, but regardless, do we not take up for or stand for, the Asian community because we didn't see everybody stand first? I said, in that case, how do you know no Asians stood up for Black Lives Matter?
Hey,
So you telling me
I'm
none
gonna be
stood
real
up?
with you though. Out west, out in Cali,
They go hard.
yeah, they went hard during,
Yeah.
during all of that. They went so hard. You maybe just didn't see it here.
It ain't me.
No. I'm just speaking
But
in
what I'm saying,
general.
the media wasn't necessarily covering that. And that's what everyone goes by.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And it depends on what part of the country that you're living in that you see it. But I see these posts that keep saying, where was they at when we was in the struggle? Like, oppression is oppression. You know what I mean? When it comes to the minorities, like, it is what it is. But how would I not? What do I look like? I mean, even outside of me being mixed, what do I look like not standing up for the Asian community just because I feel like, well, shit, there wasn't enough of them standing up for us? Like,
yeah.
it just doesn't make, like, I'm talking about, I was so mad at Q. Like, he was
Yeah.
like, wait, he was like, Tina, wait a minute, it ain't me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it.
It was an
Mhm.
open dialogue that we were having, but it just seemed like I was anti what she was saying and pro black, whatever. Like, nah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Where was they at when we was going through X, Y, and Z? But I guess I should have been more articulate and saying this is what I've been seeing. Because
that
it
ain't what
came
he
across
said.
like, nah, Tina, nah, it's just black folk, everything over here with me. And if I didn't see them standing with us, I didn't see them marching with us.
Because that's what he was saying. And I said, Q, he was like, no, I'm not saying I said it. I'm saying that's what I'm seeing other people say. I thought, oh, well, just say that. Because, I'm not.
Yeah.
What's your take on it, Kim? Basically, just like how has like when you posted, because I've seen you post about both Black Lives Matter
Yeah.
and stop the Asian hate, all that. Like how has some of your followers and have they came at you? Have they attacked you for feeling one way or the other? Especially when you posted about like Black Lives Matter, did you see yourself like losing followers? Did you see people who maybe
Yeah.
were writing you hate messages for what you were writing?
No, I think I'm very fortunate. I don't get a lot of hate messages because I think I'm very honest about everything. So I think people don't feel the need because I'm just not going to respond. I'm not going to fuck with it. So
Right.
don't even bother. But I did it on both ends, on my business and my personal page. And yeah, there's definitely a decline in followers. We definitely lost people. I was actually, I want to say attacked. I was attacked by a Black woman in a room, in a clubhouse room. She got very angry with me because I had just explained how I think what we see as oppression and what we see as people stepping up to help others is really just what we see in our own community. It's our own personal lived experiences. So I think that when you say that no one has stepped, she got very angry. She's like, no one has stepped up for the Black community. And I was like, I'm that's unfortunate that you haven't seen that. I have. I'm not saying that it's been like that forever, but in my community, people have stepped up for the Black community. I have. I've seen it all over California. I've seen it all over the West. And she got so angry with me and pretty much basically was saying that yeah, this whole Stop Asian Hate movement is taking away from Black Lives Matter. And it was really unfortunate that she thought that it couldn't be mutually exclusive, that she thought that both movements couldn't happen at the same time, that she truly felt that both movements happening at the same time is so much better because now there's this collaboration between two marginalized groups, and she didn't see that. And it was really unfortunate.
How do now this is to both of you. How do y'all keep y'all calm during such an emotional debate like that, with you guys being, you Black and Filipino and Vietnamese, right? And for you, Tina, people might see it as, oh, well, you neglecting your Black side because you just standing with them. And then with you, it's like, oh, well, you just neglecting the Asian side. When you was protest for Black Lives Matter. So people are, well, why you protesting and going so hard for them when we got our own struggle? So how do y'all balance that? Because that seems like it'd be kind of difficult.
For me, I just understand, and I mean this lying and say people are just ignorant at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And for me, even if it was somebody white and it was police brutality, am I not going to look at that as being wrong because they were unlawfully shot or killed by a police officer? No, police brutality is police
What
brutality.
I mean by like from your own community. So black people coming to you, like how do you? And it's like when they come to you saying, "Oh, why are you so pro Asian when Black Lives Matter?" Is going like, "Why ain't you riding with us?" How do you deal with that? And for you, like,
it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating, because I think there is a long history of marginalized groups being put against each other,
yeah,
Right.
to elevate themselves. So you guys know of the model minority group as an Asian. So we are seen as the model minority. And there's like pros and cons to that. You know, we're the minority that's supposed to achieve more. We're the minority that stays out of trouble. But then on top of that, then we're the minority that's weak, that's timid, that is not outspoken, that can't be leaders, that doesn't run companies, that doesn't get, whatever raises or leadership roles. And so it's like, and that's just one part of our oppression.
Mhm.
And then you look at, like the Black community and their oppression, just not even getting hired into these companies for being Black and not even getting certain opportunities because they're Black. So it's like, I mean, it's just, it's the, I hate to say this, but it's like, it's the oppressor is just putting one marginalized group against the other.
Yeah.
And there's just a long history of that. So there's numerous people in my family that were just like, why are you going down to protest? Why would you stand up for Black people like this? I'm like, I'm not just standing up for Black people. I'm standing up for any community of people that
Dealing with injustice.
it's at the end of the day, you just want equality for all human lives.
Mhm.
Like no one's better than anyone else. And this isn't even just a matter of race, that you start talking about socio-economic stance, like people that make less and that are from lower income families also get a lot less opportunities.
Right.
I mean, it's a big conversation.
I guess my frustration is when it comes to it, especially, I mean, even from the Black side, is that how did this unfortunate situation of these lives being taken, then put two races against each other to say, oh, well, you're not as oppressed or I'm more oppressed than you. Like, why is it even a hashtag? Like, why is it?
We're going to oppress each other that way.
Exactly.
And when y'all was talking about that and just seeing like some of Antoine's posts, like it just immediately made me go to think about, Judas and the Black Messiah, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they talking about Fred Hampton, and Fred Hampton organized and got not just the Black people, but he got the brown people, you know what I'm saying? And they came together and he was like, hey, yo, like we fighting the same fight.
Yeah.
Like, why don't we just team up?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I'm saying?
That was
like
a great movie.
And we just go against the oppressor.
Yeah.
As opposed to us fighting each other, which is what the oppressor wants us to do. And then we just oppressing each other. So we basically helping them out regardless.
Yeah. We're doing the job for them.
Yeah. I had a conversation real quick today with somebody, and he was asking me that he agreed with me, but he was like, I want to hear about what they think.
Click what?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Antoine said.
No, you go ahead. He's just
Okay.
asking me to click.
I've seen posts or, statuses where people are saying, well, why are the Asians bleaching their skin? They don't want to be dark and I'm like, some Black people don't want to be Black. I'm sorry. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're trying to find reasons as to why we should not support the Asian community. I said, it's just all about the media. I said, there's so many darker complected Filipinos in the Philippines, but you don't see that because that's not who they put on the front line, on the forefront, so that you can see that to know what they really are. But I just think they're bullshit excuses as to why we should not. You know what I mean? Just trying to find reasons like, well, they don't want to be Black anyway. They don't even want to be dark. So why would we, try to stand up for them? And I'm like, you got Black people that bleach their skin. Like, what are you talking about? So, I mean, I don't know. I just think that the reasons that they're coming up with, there's no good reason of why we should not support the Asian community.
Yeah.
Like, what would be the reason?
But I don't think there is no reason other than what y'all were just alluding to earlier. It's like the Black community is having a fight with all other communities to try to prove now we the most oppressed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like we're trying to prove something instead of just being like, okay, at the end of the day, fucking wrong is wrong, regardless of whatever ethnicity. Wrong is wrong. But it's like Tina was alluding to earlier, a lot of the black community, well, I ain't gonna say a lot of black community. Some people in the black community is what she was facing with or talking about. Is like, man, nah, that's their problem. Now they wasn't with us when we was. It was like, nah, that's on them. Instead of being like, hey, nah, we got y'all back. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's because a lot of black people feel like we went through slavery and Jim Crow and segregation, and we always felt like we were by ourselves, but which is not true because, you know, in order to get to some of that stuff to be done, we did have to get, you know, help from other ethnicities, white people to get into doors, but that's neither here nor there. But black people, I feel like we went through this fight for so long by ourselves. Now the Asian people are like, hey, you know, can you walk with us? And we like, nah, this is new to y'all. Like, y'all figure it out. And it's so effed up.
And they deal with their own. My cousin, she's black, but she moved to China for whatever reason. I'm not sure, but she's over there teaching. I'm like, she just up in one day, it was like, I'm moving to China.
Yeah.
She's young. She teaches kids over there, and they're dealing with their own issues over there, like living under like a dictatorship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody deals with different levels of stuff. That comment about the.
I agree, Antoine. They do. I mean, it's
That's
only natural. He said black folks want to hear people outside of ourselves saying the things we've been saying. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because it gives you a sense of, okay, like they understand, right?
Yeah.
Like they standing with us. So I get that too. But I mean, look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, right? So when we settled down in Lexington, when it was you know what I'm saying, when my dad retired from the military and all that. And I still remember when I moved here, you know what I'm saying? Because I was used to living on Army bases. So I seen a bunch of people that looked like me. So it was never really, you know what I'm saying, that when I lived on those Army bases.
Look like you as in like black people.
Well, black and Asian.
Okay.
Like a lot of mixed people. So there was a lot of diversity. So I never really had too much stuff. Now, when we moved off of the Army base, you know, we had issues with probably more white people. But when we moved to Lexington, I can tell you when I first moved to Lexington, I had more black people hating on me, talking about the way I look, saying I look Chinese or I look this or look at my or look at your eyes, you know, talking about me than white people even did.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, and you know what I'm saying, and y'all know me, like I you know, although I love and respect both sides of my culture, right? You know, I'll ride hard for the Koreans. I'll ride hard for the black people. You know what I'm saying? Because I love them both equally. But I probably identify, well, I do identify, not probably, I identify more with my black culture, you know, just in a sense of who I am, right? But still, like, as a kid in 4th grade, moving out Hollow Creek, going to Northern Elementary, I got picked on more from black people just on the way I look, right? Now that could have turned me one way or the other, you know what I'm saying? But
that's crazy.
I mean, that's just part of it. So it's like, you know, what if I'd have took that and just, you know what I'm saying, took that and just ran with it and got to the point where I'm like, man, who is that?
Which one? Hold on, you talking about the roasting? It says, Jarvis, how much of their roasting and how much was it racism? That's from Quentin Roberts, if that's the one you're talking about.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? We talking about 4th grade, so I don't know. I mean, you know what I'm saying? At that time, I mean, in 4th grade,
they call them riding.
I mean,
where it starts, guys,
yeah, I mean,
you
in 4th grade, with my mind not being developed and not being mature enough, shit, I could have took that one or two ways. I could have been like, you know, I hate all y'all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I could have. I don't know.
You know what they was calling me in elementary? Nigga Pino. Oh, she's a nigga. Yeah, she's a nigga Pino. I was like, what?
I wanted to hit on that. Like, did you grow up here in Lexington?
I did.
Okay, like, what was that like experience for you guys growing up in Lexington? Jarvis already hinted on a little bit of it. You just hinted on a little bit of. If you want to elaborate a little bit.
I mean, that was just a nigga Pino. That's what they said, and I always got the. You think you cute because you got long black hair and you mixed. No, I don't think I'm cute, but I dealt with that. But
it's
it
like
was
you
from,
think I'm cute, clearly, and you want to give me shit for it. That's fine.
But who was it from? The black
people.
community. Yeah, from the white people.
Man,
it's from the black community.
I mean, but I'm not saying I never had that in Lexington either. Like, you know what I'm saying? I had white people, you know, attack me too. But it's in the beginning, especially like my elementary years, and probably like up until like 6th grade. Like it was probably up until, you know, I started playing like sports, and I was actually, you know, decent in football and stuff, you know what I'm saying, and playing it.
That's
you
like,
know,
oh, he one of us, but
you know, people was like, you know, but nah, but for real, like,
but see
when I
that's
first
crazy
moved here,
though,
that's
and
what it was.
she made a great point. Is that's where it starts because
Yeah.
let's say it did turn you completely off from your black side, and then you grow up, and as an adult, you don't really fool with black people. Then what's the first thing people say? Oh man, he don't fool with us. He ain't like
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
But they don't know it's because your childhood you were teased for being a certain way, and it was majority of black people teased you, and then it turned you off from a whole culture, and then you grown up and it's like, man, I don't even fool with them no more.
Yeah.
So they don't understand. But for you, how was it growing up here in Lexington?
So I grew up my first couple of years in Frankfurt, and there were almost no Asian kids around me. And if they were, I met Asian kids in ESL, and I just spoke English faster than a lot of kids, and I learned it and spoke it faster, so I got to get out of ESL faster. So I think growing up, I don't know if you guys ever felt this, but like growing up, it's like you're not white enough to be with the white people to be considered white and American, but then you're not Asian enough to be seen as an Asian. So you're just kind of in this middle, and people don't know how to group you. And that's what people want to do. They just want to group you. They want to know where you belong. And when you don't belong anywhere, then you just don't belong anywhere. So you're just kind of just like this outsider. And yeah, I mean, I had a teacher once. She asked me if I could demonstrate how to use chopsticks to my class.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess. And she didn't ask me what I wanted to like. I thought I would just pick up some stuff. She like brought me a plate of like beans. I don't eat beans. And she was like, here, eat this and just use your chopsticks. And I was like, cool, I guess. And you know what's really fucked up though, is that I did it because I wanted to be seen.
Yeah.
Like I was like, yeah, someone see me, because I felt so just like cast aside because I just didn't belong anywhere, you know? So I think I grew up a lot of life in Lexington trying to figure out like where I belong.
Hey man, I just want to shout out real quick, man. You know, when I had got to Northern though, man, my guys took me in, man. My guy Chris Jones, my guy Beasley, you know what I'm saying? Jonathan Hughley, my guy Beasley, he took me in, you know what I'm saying? So you know, it was all love from them two. So
You say you was gonna beat him
I mean,
up?
them were two of my
Nah,
best
so I'm about to
friends.
hit him up.
Them was two of my best friends in 4th grade, Chris
I didn't know
Jones and
that.
Beasley.
I
Yeah,
didn't know that either.
them were my dogs, man. Who, Beasley?
Mhm.
Oh man.
Chris Jones and Beasley.
Yeah, that's why I say, man, Chris Jones always solid, man. I told you,
Yeah.
man, that's my dog, man. He's been solid since 4th grade, man. Took me in, you know, Beasley too, and you know, it was a good little crew, man.
But see that's also an interesting topic too. Did you have like any young female friends or any male friends that were black that like, you know, pulled you to the side and made you feel more welcome? Because like Jarvis said, that means a lot from coming from where he was coming from and having black people roasting. I'm pretty sure Jones and Beasley still roasting him, but it was in more of a friendly way.
Right.
Did you have like black friends that, you know, kind of like pull you in and welcome you, be like, man, forget them girls?
I had a couple back in the day, like my girlfriend Kenyatta Pinkston. We've been friends, rocking since the 1st grade. Then one of my neighbors, Donisha. But then when I was in middle school, they called her Big Mary Buchanan. That was my dog.
Shout
Yeah,
out
like
Big Murray.
I'm talking about at school. Mary was probably already. We in middle school. Mary was probably 6'4",
She built like me.
and she didn't like. I mean, hey, she'll smack you down right now.
Yeah, Big Murray.
But you know, people used to pick on me. I used to be really timid. They would pick on me. I would cry. Like I was really like I didn't know how to fight. I didn't know what's going on, you know. And she'd be like, I ain't gonna mess with her. And she'd be like, don't worry about it. You know, like she would take up for me. But I was so timid. And then I was, like you said, I was so lost because I wasn't raised by my mom or my dad. My grandmother raised me. So it's like.
And what race was your grandmother?
Black.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know how older people are. They don't, you know, they're still trying to raise you like they raise their kids.
Of course.
So I was in a mix of not really understanding where I belong, you know, and not even understanding like, well, why is my mom Filipino? Why is she not here? And then they're saying this stuff to me. So, I mean, I don't know what it is. Like, just wanted to have friends and would do stuff for attention or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Whether it was
We
good
all
attention or
want
bad
belonging.
attention. I just wanted attention, you know.
We
so
all just want belonging.
Yeah.
and from that young age, that
interesting.
I believe that's where my low self-esteem came from. So for years, you know, on the outside I may smile, but it's just like I was really sad growing up. You know what I mean? Like as a kid and not belonging or feeling like you don't, because you're around everybody else, and that goes into another situation. But I'm saying outside of being mixed, you know, if I got my cousins around, they got their moms, and I'm the only one that don't have my mom or my dad. So it's just kind of like I don't feel like I belong at school. I don't feel like I belong at home. Like where do I belong? Yeah, you know what I mean. So for me, any attention was good attention. It's probably why I had a baby when I was 15, and that's just real.
Nah, that's
It's just one of those.
I appreciate you being that open because it made me ask. I want to know Jarvis, and Kim had mentioned something earlier too about the whole chopsticks. You didn't know at that age it was like low key racist, but you were just wanting the attention to stand out, to be different. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll show you how to do this because you want attention. You want attention. What about you, Jarvis? Was there anything that you want to starve for attention being younger?
I didn't really want to start for attention. I mean, like I said, I've always been like, if you ask anyone in my family, right, and it comes to like, like I embrace both cultures, but like even my family in Texas, the black side of my family, like, what I'm saying? It's kind of like a little running joke, right? Like they'll all say like, ah, yeah, he the nigga out of the three. Right, because I'm like, they consider me like the most black out of the three of my brothers.
That's crazy.
I mean, out of us three.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I embrace my Korean culture so much too. Like it don't matter. Like I'll take Korean food to work and eat it. And people will be like, what's that smell? And it's like, hey man, y'all just gonna have to live with that, man. Like it's what I want to eat. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying? I don't have no problem. Like I go to Korea, you know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because when I go to Korea, as soon as I touch down, it feels like home. I get that feeling. I haven't been to Africa. I'm going this summer. And when I touch down, I halfway kind of expect it to kind of feel the same. So, I mean, granted, none of my family that's living now has ever touched foot on Africa, but I think it'd be a surreal feeling, you know what I'm saying? And maybe it kind of gives you that feeling. I don't know. I've heard other black people say once they've been to Africa, like it kind of gave them that like, like I'm home. Yeah, I'm home. So, I'm thinking maybe it'll give me that too. But I never really starved for attention. Like I think I've always just been like a dude that's just been like kind of goofy or whatever. Like,
Dude. It's just, but even as an adult, I had moved out to California in 2004, and I was on set. I don't know, like an extra on some show, and they were talking, and the girls, they was like, oh, what if they was like, well, Asian something, and that was like I was like, yeah, I'm Filipino, so it was a girl, she was Korean. She was like, technically, you're not Asian, you're Pacific Islander. And I was looking at her like, what? Like I was so
technically.
Yeah, that's what she was on. Like she was like, I'm an Asian, you're not, and I'm looking at her like, what the fuck? What? Like, what does that matter? Like, what are you talking about?
Technically, you're a bitch.
I don't have to talk about it.
Q Roberts.
What do you say?
Let me
Who wrote that, Q?
Let me find out about that comment about Jarvis. Yeah, that was Q Roberts. When I first met Jarvis, I don't know, he was mixed. I always just thought he was a light skinned dude that looked like they like to wear.
Hey,
Jarvis,
man.
any truth to that?
Hey, I don't think I ever had a pair of Eastlets, man. But hey, Q can always. Hey, I'm gonna just tell this little quick joke real quick. I remember we was at a Dirt Bowl one summer, and I still remember this to this day, and I still tease Vincent about it to this day. But Vincent had bought a pair of K-Swiss. Ah man, Quentin roasted him. He said, "Hey man, you got a Serena Williams." I still remember that to this day, man. Hey, something's wrong with you, Q.
Something wrong with you.
It's a cute thing. Y'all wouldn't understand. But for people who are tuning in right now, we are actually shooting this show from Truth Recording Studios. If you're an aspiring artist, like to do spoken word, anything like that, to have a studio set up, come in here, get your beats done, put your vocals down.
You trying to be a rapper like me?
Yeah, like Chrissy J. It's located at 340 East New Circle Road, Suite 120, Lexington, Kentucky, 40505. So come through. Tell them he said, she said, sent you. You might get a discount. I don't know. Don't hold me to that. Tell them Jarvis said that. But what about you? What I want to talk about dating outside your race.
I've only dated outside my race.
Oh.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I actually,
You know, it's fine.
do you guys know that game, that Never Have I Ever game?
Yeah.
This is how fucked up I am. I said, so when you say never have I ever, something that you don't have to put your finger down to. So I'm like, never have I ever been with a man outside of my race, thinking that I'm a white girl because I've only been with white men. And my friend was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh wait, I'm Asian. Like I've only been with men outside of my race. Like not okay." But I mean, like I grew up so immersed in my white culture, so immersed in it.
Dang, that's crazy. What about you, Tina? Like you was about to go on a tirade, and you had to sit back and calm yourself down real quick.
Nah, I don't date white men or Asian men. I date black men.
No, really.
I appreciate you, Audra.
Right, yeah, I mean, I just-
man.
You know what, to be honest with you, and this is just being real, because I didn't know who I was. And when I started, as I became a woman, I started realizing or starting to be able to embrace who I was, like Filipino and black, and actually be okay. I didn't feel like that another race, especially the white race, would be able to understand me.
Okay.
And I didn't want to be put in a situation where I try to explain something to them that I'm just now trying to figure out, and I'm just now understanding and learning on my own.
And sometimes
You
you're
know.
just not attracted to, you know what I mean? Like maybe you're just not. My
It's a
sister,
preference. It ain't
my
no wrong with
sister is
having a
not.
preference.
My sister cannot look at a white man and find any attraction in it. She's just like pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just certain
And I
things
can't look at
that-
an Asian man and find him hot. Like
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like pass.
Pass. Hard pass. So
You don't like Asian men either.
No, I'm not with I'm not with the Asian dudes. So you mentioned growing up,
Just making sure.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm gonna
White
tell you,
men,
before, I want to
Asian
say
men,
something real
black
quick
men.
that does make me mad.
Did I say something again?
No, not
Okay.
you. But before I forget, because
I
I
was
can
about to say,
forget.
damn.
I'm gonna
Go
tell you
ahead.
one thing that pisses me off, and this is really, I hate when someone says, "Oh my God, your hair is so pretty," and then somebody will be like, they'll be like, "Well, what do you mix with?" Filipino. Oh, no wonder. What do you mean? Like that burns me up, as if I could not just be a black woman
And have good hair.
and don't. Listen, I'm one of them. Don't say good hair, because
What do you call it?
I mean, what's good hair?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
No, I'm asking you. What's good hair though?
That's why I'm asking you.
But you
Let's
said it.
have
So
on.
what's good
Huh?
hair?
Listen.
What's good hair?
What you have. What she has.
Why is it good?
What Jarvis has. Because y'all just got good hair. Nobody said this.
Why
because
is it
of
good? But what, so that implies that hair that's not like ours is bad.
No, it's not.
So why is ours good then?
Because it's a certain texture.
So it makes it good
Yes.
or more manageable.
I don't know about manageable because our hair is manageable.
So what makes it good hair?
I just told you the texture. Just like if you was to touch something, it will make it good because it's smooth, right?
First of all, who you yelling at?
I'm just saying you set up, so I'm about to set
But
up.
I'm just telling
So
you.
therefore, if something
What?
is smooth, then that makes it good. I mean, you're not gonna sit here and say something that's bumpy. Oh yeah, that's a good texture.
Is
right
my
there, so
hair
that's
is
good.
my hair smooth or is my hair curly?
I said the texture. The texture of your hair is good.
So all right. So
He's
look.
trying to tell you that I have good hair and you don't. That's what he's trying to. I'm just kidding.
Now-
So this is I'm gonna say this is my problem. So I have 3 kids, my oldest daughter and my middle daughter. My middle daughter has, her dad's mixed. I'm mixed, so she has that what they would call mixed texture hair.
And what is mixed texture hair?
It's like the fine curly hair.
Okay.
So my oldest daughter has hers a little bit thicker and kinkier, or used to be. So growing up, I used to hate when people be like, "Oh, the one with the good hair." Like that shit wasn't okay, because then that implied to my oldest daughters,
So she had bad hair.
I have bad hair.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I always tell my girls, there is no such thing as good hair and bad hair. People can say what they want to say, but not just because my hair is curlier or smoother doesn't mean that mine is good and yours is bad. Like I don't like that shit. I'm just telling you.
So
I mean,
good.
it's
still good hair.
No, it goes along with the movement of body positivity. Is there a good body or a bad body? No, they're all bodies.
I got a dead body.
They just do different things, you know.
But
What did
this
you
is-
say?
but
I got a
this
dead body.
But this is where
I thought you
the
said dead.
but this is where the thing came in with Americans or black women, where back in the day it was just like, oh, I want white girl hair. I want hair like
But see, I
Because
think
they
that's a
didn't
different
appreciate-
conversation than what
So-
you were saying, though.
no, I'm saying as far as the good hair, but they're basically telling me as a black woman, no wonder you have good hair because you're mixed.
No, I don't think that's what they're saying
No.
because
So if
you,
you-
you just said I want her like a white woman, so they identify good hair as a white woman.
No, I'm saying what I said initially when they'd be like, oh my God, your hair's so pretty. And then they'll come back and be like, I'll be like, thank you. What do you mix with? I'll be like, Filipino. I'll be like, that's why. Or no wonder. Like, what do you mean no wonder? So I couldn't just be a black woman with this hair?
That's just
I
being
have-
ignorant, though.
But that's my point, that's what people say all the time. You can ask any, or just black women. Why does it matter what I'm mixed with? Okay, you like my hair, you like my hair. It's like they had to have a reason to say, oh, okay, yeah.
No, I
she's
get what
mixed,
you're
that's why
saying.
she's got good
Anytime
hair.
you see a black person with good hair, people automatically trained to think she's automatically mixed with something.
Yes.
So I
Well,
get what you're saying.
That whole thing just got a negative connotation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like one
What
day
whole
we
thing?
the whole like good hair, bad hair, right? So, you know, a lot of people, well, you know, some people have been brainwashed to think that, you know, like this hair is good hair, this hair is bad hair, right? But yeah, Q's silly, man. I already know it's Q, dog. So so one day we was at the airport, right?
Was you looking at that comment?
And
Okay.
so one day we was at the airport and Antoine had got into it with somebody else. And it was Taryn actually. So they got into it together. And you know, Taryn kept trying to say, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, the good hair, you know, I got the good hair and you got this, and this. And Twan was like, same argument. Like, what do you mean? What's good hair? So you saying my so like basically Twan broke it down to him. He was like, you know, which I agree with Twan. He was like, man, ain't no such thing. Like, you know, do you have a finer texture of hair? And is my hair a little more coarse?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to.
But to say that you got good hair and I got bad hair just don't make no sense, which is true. Like how you defining somebody's beauty, you know, you're saying that this type of hair is only the beautiful hair and this type of hair is the ugly hair or whatever it may be, right? But it also goes to, you know, anytime you talk to somebody and they talking about Africa, right? A lot of people want to automatically go like, well, no, Africa just ain't that. No, they got beautiful women. Look at the East African women, like the Ethiopian and the what are they called? The Eritrean women.
I'm not sure
And those are
about
the ones that, like, you know, they got the fine hair, the fine wavy hair and stuff like that. But it's like, okay, so you saying the rest of Africa is just
Snappy and just
nappy and ugly, right? Because the first thing people do is like, oh no, they got beautiful women. Look at like South American women, which we know a lot of South American Africans. Well, there's a lot of white Africans in South Africa, but then there's also a lot of, you know, you got to think there was some, you know, some mixing of races there too. So
Yeah, but I think I completely agree with you, and I like I said, I think it's with every race and every people. There's just good and bad to qualities and traits that there shouldn't be. Like
Mhm.
a good body and a bad body, that's unfair, you know. And like in America, I think oftentimes people consider blonde to be more attractive, you know, and like that's unfair. And then like in the Asian culture, there's like Asian women that they think are more beautiful than other Asian women, and like that's not fair. Like
There's a lot of subliminal things that go on. Like I was telling them not too long ago, my niece was watching a show and my daughter pointed it out, and it was a Barbie. You know, the little Barbie YouTube things, and she was on there, and the little Barbie jumped in. She's black. The white one jumped in, and she's swinging her hair like, oh, lustrous. And then when the black one jumps out, Terry turns into a fro, and she's like, ah, oh my God, it's a mess. And so, what is that subliminally telling these little girls that are watching these shows?
Yep.
That the black girl gets in there and her hair is curly in a fro, it's messy. But when the white girl jumps out, oh my God, it's swinging and it's lustrous. And
Mhm.
so these are the things that these young girls are learning. And unless they have someone there, which we're at a pivotal point in our lives where,
There's more representation.
yes, and we have embraced, and it's not even that, you know, we have embraced our own
Mhm.
beauty. It's not even about anybody else doing it. We have
Yeah.
learned to embrace our own beauty and to love us for us and not seek outside, I guess, validation
Yeah.
to say that we're beautiful.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I cut all my hair off. My hair was
I
down
remember
to my
that.
waist.
I remember.
I cut my hair off a little bit longer than, no, it wasn't even as long as his.
Mhm.
Because then it was like, you know what? Curly hair is in and it's beautiful. And I can wear my curly hair and not feel, because that's what they say to me when I was younger. why your hair is so thick and curly, it's bushy, you need to straighten it. And that's what I did to fit in.
Yep.
So people just
Yeah.
I just finished reading Gabrielle Union's memoir,
Mhm.
and she talks so much about that, about just growing up in a white community and trying so hard to assimilate to that community. It's so crazy.
Did you talked about date Asian men? Did you have? And I know you guys both mentioned the lost part. At what age did you start to find your identity to figure out, okay, this is who I am as a woman?
I
Because-
definitely think after college. After college, I moved to Los Angeles, and I think when I just personally felt like it was easier in a bigger city when I saw more women that looked like me, when I saw more people that looked like me, when I was around more non-white people, and just people that are, I mean, like, this is the South, and it's just different, you know. Like, I think women cover themselves up more here. I think women are more docile here, and I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm not trying to generalize women in the
Just an
South.
observation.
However, yeah, like I think out in California, out in bigger cities, New York, California, Miami, women are just like what Jarvis had said. I really want women to embrace their femininity, their sexuality, like who we are as like a divine feminine power. And I think that a lot, and I see that less in the South.
So we can be in LA, like my girlfriend, Michelle. I mean, we can go to a pool party and have on thong bathing suits, and it's not gonna be like, oh my,
No one
you do
thinks
that here.
any less of you.
Yeah, no one. Yeah, it's not like, oh my God, look at, but you do that here, it's a problem. But again,
It's also that exposure to it too, right?
yeah,
So like even like they said in Europe, there's a lot of like nude beaches. There's a lot of stuff like that. And I mean, man, and I'm be honest with you. I remember the first time I went down to Miami. I was a senior in high school, and I remember going down to Miami. And the first time, like, we walked on this beach, and I'm like looking at titties and ass, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, yeah. I mean, one, I'm a 17-year-old kid with my hormones jumping, but I'm like, I'm like,
Yeah.
and it was a shock to me. But now, like if I were to see it, especially after, having a lot more exposure to the world through traveling and stuff like that, and just being, more mature just in general, it would be nothing for me to like see that now. It's just, okay, we at a beach where you're allowed to be nude or whatever. But the exposure to it, I think, is like huge. So a lot of people here, well, I'm not going to say a lot of people here, that's generalizing, but there are a lot of people who have, one, never left Kentucky, maybe never left a city in Kentucky, or
people that never left the U.S.
Yeah,
like people that have never been in a space where they are the minority. Like
yeah.
that, like there's so many people, and then they're like, oh well, I've been to Cancun, I've been to this resort, I've been to that resort, and I'm like, oh god,
Just the resort.
you
Hey,
sound
You
so
had to been to the real Cancun.
you sound so
yeah.
dumb that it just
Yeah.
makes me mad for
Yeah.
you.
But the thing is, it's just ignorance because they just really don't know. They don't understand. You know what I mean? They've not been exposed to that.
Do they not want
So-
to know? Do they not want to understand?
Yeah.
Well,
And they've never been in a space where they've had to try to communicate broken English.
Yeah.
So it's like so uncomfortable for them.
And that's the key part you said there. They don't want to do it because they don't want to come out of their comfort zone, right? So, for someone to say, like let's just say, for instance, someone to say, man, I want to pick up and go to Argentina, right? I've been to Argentina, and they speak
Portuguese.
what? No, they speak Spanish, but
Speak
but
Spanish.
but there is some Portuguese speakers there as well, right? So it's kind of like when I went to Argentina, it was almost it was primarily Spanish, but then there were a lot of Portuguese because you had a lot of people that came from Brazil and stuff like that. But I mean, who's just gonna think, let me just go to Argentina and just land in Argentina and want to explore because it's out of their comfort zone? They're not gonna, they're unfamiliar with the food, they're unfamiliar with the language. I mean, that in itself is just huge in itself, right?
when people don't understand, they fear. So if they don't know, and I don't know if I told you, like when I went to Fiji, in Fiji, right? So the Fijians are dark, you know what I mean? But then when
That
we
was a
were
low
on,
key stunt too, by the way.
Yeah.
That was a low key little stunt.
Yeah. When I went to Fiji,
I
went to Fiji.
it was when I went to Fiji because it's nothing for me. But go ahead,
Go ahead,
continue with your
yeah.
story.
I ain't never been to Fiji. Go ahead.
Black on black oppression over there. But that was not a lightweight stunt. The point of what I was making is that when I went there, right, we were on like these cruise things or whatever. It wasn't a cruise that we went on, but like these boats for some type of thing.
Agree.
So a lot of we noticed that the Australians
Social media.
were kind of staring at us or whatever, right? So there was a little boy over there. He was like, they were like, look, mom, look at them over there. So then one lady said to us, she said, don't worry. She was like, a lot of them from New Zealand, she's like, they've never seen a black person in real life, ever. So they're just, I mean, for them to see that in person, it was just like, oh my God. So nobody was speaking to Still Rude. At the time, my husband, the way he's had his haircut or whatever and stuff, then a lot of people said he resembled Kobe, right? So then the people beside us was like, oh, they were just joking. They said, watch this. They was like, Kobe, you know, they think all black people look like anyway. They was like, so they was like, that's Kobe, that's Kobe. Everybody like wanted to start speaking to us. Then it was like, oh, they cool. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you play basketball. But when they just thought we was a normal, just black.
So it wasn't
You know,
until they thought y'all were somebody that it was accepted. But
Yes. But then I'm just looking at the kids that were really like pointing. Like it reminded me of like back in the day when we used to watch, you know, movies from, they're looking like, oh my God, look at them. What are they? And I'm like, what does this kid keep on pointing at me for? Like I'm getting mad. But it's because he literally had never seen a black person in real life before. Mm-hmm. They live in their own little world in their bubble and they're not exposed to it. And if their parents don't take them outside of that, like how else would they know?
Kim, would you have you experienced any racism in the United States?
Yeah, and I would say mostly like microaggressions. So nothing like aggressive or blatant. But yeah, oh my gosh, my whole life, like kids would make fun of me. You've seen it where people are like ching chong chow chow,
Yeah.
you know, shit like that. Like yeah, and then just people just being rude to me. And then people being rude to my parents, especially because they speak broken English. Like they have a very thick, heavy accent. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because I know what my experiences were, but for you primarily, what race did that come from?
It came from twofold. I'm gonna say one, race, Black people. And then two, lower income people. So I think people that come from like with the lower income kids, I just think from families that didn't take time to teach their kids to not be that way. Whereas like kids from like upper class white family, middle class white family, they would just, instead of being mean to me, blatantly mean, they would just ignore me. So it's like they would just not even bother. Whereas like a kid from like a low income family would actually be like mean and
That's a
make fun
white
of me
kid
and
from a
tease
lower
me.
income
Yes.
family.
And then like I'm sure with like the same with those Black kids too that made fun of me. I got made fun of by a lot of Black girls growing up. I don't know why, but I did. I mean, I remember in elementary and high school, in middle school, elementary and middle school. Yeah, often.
Which elementary and middle school did you go to?
I went to Tate's Creek. I went to Hearn Elementary in Frankfurt, and then I went to Mill Creek Elementary.
Oh damn! Yeah, Mill Creek is a little rough out there, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then high school, I went to Henry Clay.
Okay.
But yeah,
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
29.
Okay.
Yeah, turned 30 this year.
Yeah, you turn up.
Turn up, man. Last year, your 20s.
I thought I'd have like
When's your birthday?
July 4th.
Oh, celebration every year,
I
fireworks
know
every year.
it.
For your birthday.
Yeah, I'm right behind. I'm 28, so I'm not too
Who's 28?
Not too far behind.
She's like, who?
I have a question before we end the show. How would you, because of what we were talking about earlier, how would you react to your daughter if she came and was like, Daddy, how come I don't have good hair? How come such and such has good hair?
She
How
on
would-
you, bro.
How would you respond to that?
Damn about her being on me.
I'm asking
My
a
question,
real
my question would
question.
be, what does she think good hair is? And then,
And then what are you gonna say to
Yeah.
her?
it would be dependent on what her answer is.
Well, what if she said, well, I watched the show and you said that she has good hair and you said she has good hair, but my hair's not like their hair.
Oh,
so.
that's easy. I would just say, well, baby, I also told them that it's also the texture of your hair. So their hair looks different and it looks good, but your hair has a different texture and it still looks good. So it's not about the way it looks, it's the texture of your hair. So with that being said, I'm gonna drop the mic and we gonna get on up out of here today. But he said, she said.
Right, y'all see this?
I didn't cut it. I didn't
Like,
cut
guys.
it.
Yeah, he didn't want to let
Yeah, right.
Well, y'all want to keep going? We can keep going.
We're light skin.
Huh?
What light skin?
I just said, I would just tell her that it's not the way your hair looks, it's the texture of your hair that makes your hair good hair.
So it makes it good because of the texture.
Y'all just simply said earlier that it's the texture.
I didn't say that.
Y'all said if it's coarse, then that means it's still good. Like it's the texture of your hair that makes your hair look
So
good.
then
It's
there's
not
no
the way it
such thing as good hair.
looks. I never said it was.
Travis, what do you say?
Please tell me.
What do you say?
Please tell me.
Hey, it's recorded, so we can run.
Oh, we can run it back tomorrow.
But you said because you have good hair. And
Yeah.
that's what made me say, wait a minute, what's
Good hair based on your texture, not the way it looks. I said she has good hair. You have good hair. Jarvis has good hair.
Do
All
you
three of
have
y'all
good
hair.
hair?
No, my hair's trash. All three of y'all hair. Because
Why?
Because it's not done. But all three of y'all have different type of texture hair. Doesn't make it bad. It makes it good because of the texture of the hair.
No, you're talking in circles.
Yeah. Okay,
It's
I thought it was
okay.
just me.
It's okay.
He's usually not at a loss for words. He usually got
Hey.
quick jump backs, but
And
not
it says
today.
you Derrick Jackson in it right now.
I know what I'm talking about, and I know I'm right. They just different today because I'm the
Yeah, we
minority
ain't
in
giving
here,
that
so-
But I think at
So
the end of the day,
I'm the
too,
oppressed in here.
there is no good and bad, and there isn't right or wrong. I think it's like it's from her experience as a woman that's dealt with that. It's not about having good or bad hair. It's I have hair, and it's manageable or it's not manageable. It's easy or it's not easy. You know,
It's about trying to teach the young kids that
vernacular. The
Yeah.
vernacular of things really changes what it means, and we shouldn't say that stuff is good or bad when it isn't innately good or bad.
Still good and bad hair. But anyways, we're gonna get on up out of here
who said I
today.
agree with Christina? Who said it?
Cute.
What are you talking about?
That's probably
Uh,
cute. Who's that cute?
Uh,
But I also think
Yeah.
too, like, that does kind of like touch on. I mean, because it could be something like somebody saying like, like people with round noses are ugly, or people with.
Do you have a good nose or do
know.
you have a bad nose?
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, my nose I can breathe through, so I think it's good, right?
Yeah.
But it's like that's not what they mean.
Yeah.
but to that analogy, what would they compare to say a good nose is though? It's like with you said a good hair is depending on they categorize, okay, well, you must be mixed with something. That's why you got good hair. So how would you categorize what a good nose is to compare the two?
And I think, but when you ask that, you already know what people mean when they mean good hair. You're a
Mhm.
smart man. You know what people mean when they mean good hair.
What you turn around and look at Jarvis for?
Tell them, girl.
It's true. You're not ignorant. And when someone says that's a good nose, you know what a fucking good nose means.
Well, what's a good
You
nose?
do.
Then? What's a good nose?
You know.
Well, what's a good? Does Jarvis have
If
a
I
good nose?
asked, if
Nah,
I
me
asked
and
you
Jarvis got,
no,
well, I got
that's
pug
the thing.
nose.
It's not a good
But
or a
it's
bad
a
nose.
good nose
But
though.
when people talk about a good nose, they're talking about an objectively, like probably like longer, thinner nose. That's objectively a good nose. So instead of saying a good or a bad nose, just someone has a nose, and a good or bad hair, someone has hair. Like
So I think what she's saying, right? So like 9 times out of 10, right? When people are like talking about they want better hair, right? So they're gonna go out and get the weave that looks like a certain way, or they're gonna try to a hairstyle that looks a certain way. When people get plastic surgery, it's more towards like I've seen more, and I mean I could be wrong, but I've never seen it the opposite way. I've never seen someone with a more slender nose go to like
yeah.
widening
So we
their
all know
nose.
it is.
You know what I'm
like,
saying?
I've gotten my boobs done. I didn't have good or bad boobs. I just wanted bigger boobs. You know what I mean? Like I don't have good or bad hair. I just wanted straighter hair. It doesn't make it good. It's just
Yeah. So I think it's more like, when she's saying that, I get what she's saying, right? I think like what a lot of people see as being good is like what people are trying to really transform to kind of.
Yeah.
And I think what you're getting at is just for the sake of young girls feeling good about themselves.
Yeah.
That's where you're getting at.
Yeah.
It's just changing the vernacular so that all young girls do not feel like shit about themselves because they're not good enough.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's
Word.
what it is.
Yeah.
She said it, y'all.
But
Jarvis,
but
that's
I'm-
my face.
But I'm also glad that we do have like the social media, the
Mhm.
platform that's out there that can, the different platforms where, we do have influencers who can make people feel good about themselves. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of negative too, but I mean, it's good to see, and even if it is just because of an event that happens or something like that, you know what I'm saying? It is good to see that people can start feeling empowered, some being just who they are You know what I'm saying? But then again, there's a lot of other stuff where people feel like, social media makes you feel like you have to be this or that in order to be, whatever. But I think social media has done a lot of good too for a lot of people's self-esteem.
Yeah.
So let me ask y'all this real quick. Forget her. I had to talk to my peoples last week, and they said
Nah.
they said I made a comment to your girl.
Kim's
Remember,
coming out.
I said
Uh-huh.
I made a comment. I said her age. I was like, ooh. I said, okay, girl, black don't crack. He was like, I think you should stop saying that. I was like, why?
We're talking about doing the show.
Yeah, no, he didn't say it during the show, but when I said it on the
Uh-huh.
show, he was like, I was like, he said, I said, why shouldn't I? He was like, because then you're implying. I said, what? Well, that maybe white. I said, how is me saying something positive about the black people implying something negative about white people?
Yeah, that's reaching.
I said, and he was like, well, okay, yeah, you're right. He was like, I thought you were just trying to reach a different base. I was like, but that's just something in the black community that we say. It's nothing against somebody else.
Yeah.
So is that wrong for me to say black don't crack? Does that imply? And he agreed with me after I said it. But what do you guys think? And when I'm saying black don't crack, am I implying that white people do? People told me Asians don't raisin. I said, oh,
Asians don't what?
raisin.
I mean, yes. Like I feel like you could say that without the implication, but there is that implication behind it. But I feel like you can say it without you having that implication. But it's almost like one of those things. Like everybody knows when people say black don't crack, it's because you could look at someone your age that's white that may look older than
But my thing is, why is it a comparison towards white people? Why isn't it just like they black skin because we have more melanin?
because
we
I don't
age.
think
Most people don't know. Like people look at me, they don't think I'm 42.
But when that whole
'Cause you got black and Asian.
but when that whole thing came out, right? People saying black don't crack. I think it was initially used as and it may not have necessarily been like okay, this is a complete shade to this race, but it was like all right, y'all age a little different than us. So black don't crack, Asian don't raisin.
I don't know any
That
other.
was
Now
boring.
what we gonna say about white people, right?
They,
So
say
it's
they got enough stuff to say. I don't know.
but those are, I mean, to say black don't crack, Asian don't raisin, like we know that is basically, I ain't even gonna say it's a jab at white people, but we
that's
know
what
that
I
it's
don't.
like
But that's my point. Me saying something positive
guys,
for
we
black
don't
in the black.
age, but you guys, I'm not
But-
saying you guys age, but
But that's not what we're saying. I
it's
think that
kind
you.
of like
I
I
think
ain't
you can
saying
say
what I'm
something.
just saying.
I think you can say something positive about in the black community without it being a jab towards another race. I mean,
I think it's all intention.
it is, and that's what I was saying. Like you may not have had the implication in the intentions of
But
meaning that when you
again,
said
the
it.
intention, only the sayer knows what the intention is.
Exactly.
It's up to the other people to read it how they want. And
it's
people
all
will
about
project-
perception.
Yeah.
People will project the shit out of what you have to say.
I mean, until I tell people, especially at work, they get kids. Yeah, they're 26. What? Yeah, people. You look really good for your age. I'm like, thanks, y'all. But I'm just saying, like, that's the thing that they say. I mean, no way you 42. Okay, black don't crack is the only thing I can think of because that's been the saying in the black community for so long. No.
Now she's looking at you, Jarvis.
No, I'm not saying it ain't
It's
right.
your turn.
But it's just,
It's your turn today.
it's just like Kim said. Like I think it's all an intention because, I mean, you got to think, right? When most black people say that, it's a slight jab, a little bit. Like I think that whole statement was coined as a look.
Let's-
We don't age.
Let's say
But-
yes.
We age gracefully.
Let's
Y'all don't.
say yes. But let's say the worst that means, the very worst that means is that white people age quicker and not as gracefully. That's the worst that means, right?
Exactly.
Think of all the other jabs that are actually calling like black people like ignorant or dumb,
dirty.
or, like whatever.
Yeah.
That is actually like disturbing. This is literally saying that like white people, sorry, your skin sucks. Like sorry, you know what I mean? Like that's the worst that means.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, all I'm saying is your skin sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I listen. I don't have no problem with anyone saying. I'm just saying, like, I think that was kind of coined as a.
Speaking of this, and I know this probably topic has gone way. Not Jarvis, Tina and Kim. Have y'all had white people or white women come up to you and say, "I love your skin," does that make you feel a certain type of way?
It doesn't bother me. I have really good skin, so thank you.
No, not too many people. I mean, people have said it, but
Just
not
with the
really
whole
that
black don't crack, because like you said, when you tell somebody you're 41, I'll be 42. Now, oh, I don't believe that, and they were like, "You just have such beautiful skin." Does that make you feel something?
They never really say that to me. They just say, like at work today, this girl was like, "Oh my God, I thought you were the same age as me." I said, "Well, how old are you?" She was like 29.
I already
mean-
know where you going.
No, I'm just asking. It's
You
You
already
already
know
told
where
I
you
said
going.
what's beautiful skin, what's not
I already
beautiful
know
skin.
where
I
you
already know what's up.
going.
well, what is
They don't say that to me.
it?
They don't say that to me.
I already know where you going, Q Walker.
Listen, I'm not feeding into
You
that.
set that up real good too, didn't you?
Oh man, but we do have to get out of here. Miss Kim, can you let everybody know where they can find you at, where they can find your shops at, get a hold of you and everything?
Yes, you guys can find me online at Hey It's Kim H. And then my salon is at the Nail Shop Lex. And yeah, you just keep up with me on there. Thank you for having me
No,
today,
thank
guys.
you
Oh,
for
thank
coming
you
in
for
here today. We
coming.
really do appreciate that.
I like her prices too, y'all. I'm gonna be out there Brandon Crossing. She's got good prices.
Well, there
You
it
got
is.
drinks and stuff out there too, right? Like wine or something? No. Okay. All right. Yeah.
See.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
George, anything
on
else you want
that
to say before
note-
we get on the back here?
Nah, I'm incriminating everything. So we out of here, man.
Y'all see this hair?
Oh
Bad.
man,
I'm surprised Quinn didn't say nothing about this bad hair
that
day.
head is trash too. Tina, you got something you want to say before we get out of here? It's going. I mean, it's coming.
Oh.
It's coming. You,
Your hair gonna poof up like a fro. He gonna have something to say then.
I ain't got
What
nothing to say.
Y'all.
I'm just waiting for her to say something so we can get out of here.
Oh, hey y'all. If I ain't told y'all before, I love y'all. Appreciate y'all.
No bars to that. No bars.
Huh?
You got no bars tonight?
Kim, you got a little rap for
I'm
us?
a black guy.
Little 16
Can
for
you
us?
spit something for us since we in the studio? Can you spit something for us real
You
quick?
know,
Uh-oh.
It's
I
customary for our guests to.
I need a beat,
Jarvis.
Need,
Bebop.
I need some-
All right.
Not because you black, but just because you.
Oh, God.
All right.
I don't think we can do it.
Yeah, we ain't gonna.
I'm gonna start it off. Y'all know I got my same rap, and she's gonna pick it up.
Oh,
My name is
God.
Christina. I'm black and Filipina. You disrespect me, I bring rain like Katrina.
Oh, my name is Kim. My body's
Slim.
And I'm out.
Well, on that note, we're great getting on up out here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another great show. Again, thank our guest Kim for stopping by. You can always catch previous episodes on the YouTube channel. He Said, She Said Talk. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram,
All the
Twitter.
podcasts too. Spotify.
Man, talk to them, Jarvis. Listen,
Spotify, Pandora,
iHeartRadio,
iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Apple,
iTunes.
Podcast, Google Play Store, all of that stuff. So
Yeah, so if you can't sit down and watch the show, do what Jarvis just said. Go listen to it on all major streaming platforms. So on that note, we get ready to get on up out of here. We want you to treat somebody how you want somebody to treat your mama. We out this thing. Peace.
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 And hair grease.